It's Halloween, and you know what that means. Pumpkin carving, trick-or-treating, or visiting terrifying houses filled with scary people holding chainsaws and strobe lights that are trying to murder. Okay, you know what, maybe that was a bit too much detail, but it's pretty common to find public haunted houses you could pay to go get scared. It's actually pretty fun. Some houses are filled with so many props that nowadays it gets a bit too realistic, but that's why we here at Top 5 Central are cutting to the chase and are showing you the scariest haunted houses you'd never go to. Or maybe you will, but just know, if you like this video right now, you won't get chased by a psycho with a chainsaw. I'd play it safe. Number 5, Dan's Haunted House. Nowadays, traditional haunted houses are everywhere, from the big theme parks bring to life your favorite movie monsters to homemade houses creating their own nightmares for you to step right into. I mean, they're so popular that you could almost predict what's gonna happen. You know, a monster's gonna pop out of that wall, or someone's gonna be waiting just around that corner. Done well, and these classic techniques can still be super terrifying, and Dan's Haunted House is the perfect example of that. Like, sure, the theme of a wizard corrupting a magical land to be twisted and evil isn't super original, but the way it's executed is just perfect. Guests are crammed into small spaces that make it impossible to escape the monsters, and it's so dark that it's basically impossible to tell where the scares are coming from. More importantly though, the scare actors are top notch and really go above and beyond to freak out both kids and adults. Their dedication to their individual characters and scares are super impressive, which is what really takes this haunted house to the next level.
Stop!
Number 4, Arx Mortis. Storylines aren't everything when it comes to making people scream, but I've gotta admit, a good theme will go a long way in making your haunted house a memorable and horrifying experience. That's probably why Arx Mortis is so successful. Its theming and concept is always on point, and 2018 is no different. Basically, guests are ushered into an abandoned clinic on the outskirts of town, where a mysterious cult have been building their own army to take humanity back to the Dark Ages. From there, they're forced to make their way through the army and the insane doctors behind the whole thing, and let's just say it's not a pretty sight. From nurses so horrifying they can't even show their face, to horrifying dog-human hybrids, to giggling child people, the characters this house have come with are guaranteed to follow you home. And by that I mean they'll haunt your nightmares even if you get out alive, and not that they're gonna like show up at your actual house. At least, I hope.
There is something bigger going on there.
Number 3, the Dent Schoolhouse. Now for some people, I know just thinking about school will be enough to give people nightmares, but what about a school that's literally from hell? Okay, not really, but this haunted house literally takes place in a real high school from the 1800s, which was shut down in the 1950s and abandoned ever since. Freaked out yet? Well, wait until you hear the backstory. The new owners have come up with their own tale of why the school shut down, and it has to do with a murderous janitor who cracked after too many years of teasing from the students. Now he's out to get his revenge, and anyone who enters the school is fair game. As for what you actually see, it's a mix of terrifying teachers and ghostly students, as well as a few axe-wielding maniacs and cannibal dinner ladies for luck. There's also a huge animatronic monster looming in the shadows and some horrifying torture devices, but the real horror lies in the basement, and that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Haunted houses build their scares out of our greatest fears, and Cincinnati's Dent Schoolhouse brings your worst classroom nightmare to life.
You want to buy a giant apple?
Number 2, Not Scary Farm. So some of you watching this video have probably been waiting for this name to pop up ever since you started watching. It's definitely a classic, and I'm guessing somewhere that many of you have been able to visit yourselves. That's right, I'm talking about Knott's Scary Farm, the Halloween overlay that overtakes Knott's Berry Farm every Halloween. Officially, it's the largest, longest running, and first Halloween event to run at a theme park, but obviously that matters way less than just how scary it really is. The good news is it has a whole host of haunted mazes, roaming monsters, and scare zones, which work their way up from pretty family friendly to downright terrifying. Their newest zone for 2018 is Forsaken Lake, which is a new take on zombies done in a super unique way. Instead of in the ground, these horrifying corpses were buried in the marsh near a haunted lake, and the water has done some serious damage to their bodies. Add their waterlogged costumes to their moldy makeup and broken down faces, and this is one experience that you're not going to be able to look away from. Our honorable mention goes to the Netherworld Haunted House. So when it came to our honorable mention, there really was no contest, since this house has won more awards than we even have time to talk about here. I mean, Netherworld Haunted House is terrifying no matter how you're judging, whether you care the most about costumes, sets, storylines, or just the scares themselves. Everything about this place is terrifying and detailed as hell, from the unique monsters that blend right into the walls to the fact that every inch of every room is completely covered in scares. The monsters that roam the outside are scary for sure, but you're actually going to want to take a closer look, since the construction of the elaborate costumes is really fascinating. Not only that, but the place is now so big and so famous that they run 2 haunts every year, each with a different theme and its own famous props and tricks to terrify you. Whether it's zombies from cursed ancient cities, or escaped bacteria from an alien ship, or just straight up monsters from hell, this is where you go when no other haunted house can frighten you. Number 1. The Shallow Grave. Let's be real, when it comes to classic horror movie scenarios, you just can't beat a cannibal family. I mean seriously, no matter how many times it's done, there's always gonna be something scary about a man with an axe chopping up body parts in the kitchen. If you agree with me, then you might love the Shallow Grave Haunted House, or you might find it too frightening to even enter. This house has it all, from banquet tables loaded with intestines to a frying pan with a human face sizzling next to the eggs. With all the food on display, you'd think the monsters living there would be satisfied, but no, apparently they're planning on adding guests to the menu too. If you can make it past the giant axe-wielding maniac, the screaming victims, and the still-living skeletons in the basement, then you might just make it out alive, but you might have a problem just outside the doors, hint. And that about wraps it up for our video on the 5 scariest haunted houses you'd never want to go to. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. It's completely free and helps out. Also, feel free to check out our last video where we looked at Twitch streamers who roasted their viewers. I promise, it is absolutely hilarious. But anyways, thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed, and keep it here on Top 5 Central.